Tribes 3 playtests are officially over and early access is coming. Let's chat about it. We are mere days away from, I guess what you could call the official launch of Tribes 3. It's coming Tuesday, March 12th. Early access will be here. We only started playing Tribes 3 in December of last year. So we're now sitting here in March, and the game has improved a lot. When I first played Tribes 3 in late November 2023, the game was absolutely terrible. And I think the devs will admit this. I was extremely concerned. Tribes is a big part of my life. And when I heard Tribes 3, you can't help but get excited. You can't help but feel anxious and hopeful and optimistic and scared all at once. I started playing Tribes when I was 11 years old. This is me, by the way. That's fish sticks right there. I think this is it shot in 2001, roughly. So not quite one. I think I was like maybe 13 or 14. So that's fish sticks. I've been playing Tribes since I was 11 years old. So when I heard Tribes 3 is coming out, man, so excited. Then I get to this playtest, late November, and everything about it was terrible. I'm like, this game needs 6 months in the oven. But the next week, another playtest rolled around, and that playtest was substantially better. Literally 1 week later, and all kinds of new additions. The physics felt better. The maps were getting better. So I started to think, wait a sec. This dev team, they can move. Maybe we should just let them cook a little bit, because they're actually moving fast. Then the next week, it was better. And then the next week, it was better again. And guess what? This dev team was listening to our feedback actively. So I'm like, okay, great. We're on the right trajectory. So when Hi-Rez goes out and says, hey world, Tribes 3, we're building Tribes 3. Yeah, there's gonna be some fucking hype. But can I just show you guys like this first video that they put out? First of all, this music is terrible. It's at 80 FOV. This guy is like flailing around, like he's like flailing around. What is this? This is the first thing anybody saw about Tribes 3. This. That's rough, guys. So it's clear to me that they're trying to get this game out as quickly as they possibly can, and they've stamped the name Tribes 3 on it. This isn't Tribes Ascend 2. This isn't Tribes Rivals. This is Tribes 3. Frankly, they're pushing this game out way before it's ready. The marketing is off, but we have Tribes. They have this video that gets 100,000 views on IGN, starting to do playtests. Game is still bad, but I have to say, guys, we cannot give Prophecy enough credit for how quickly they're moving. Their developers are so incredibly dedicated, given the sheer pace of development that this game has had. What other game have you ever played that has patches of this scale, even monthly? Overwatch was stuck in a horrible double shield meta for a year. They couldn't even update some variables to change the characters for an entire year with the worst meta that any game I've ever played has had. Yet in a single week, this development team is releasing new maps, releasing new weapons, a slew of balance changes, tons of bug fixes, physics updates. So despite the fact that Tribes 3 Rivals launches in this extremely rough state, it's improving at a pace that, frankly, I have never seen before. The gaming industry is like notorious for crunch, where developers are crunched super hard to get a product out. These developers, for better or for worse, are crunching to get Tribes 3 out. Drizzle is working on the weekends, every weekend. Scott is sending us the new Rain Dance updates on a Sunday. These developers really give a shit, and I think they're working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, honestly, because the amount of updates that we're getting is insane. So patch after patch comes. Many patches are 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Some patches are 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, I'll be honest. But the majority of the patches are 2 steps forward, 1 step back, meaning we're going a step forward every single week during the last 3.5 months of playing this game. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've played every single Tribes game, Midair, Legions, every single fan project. I've played them all. I'm enjoying Tribes 3 more than I ever enjoyed Tribes Ascend. I'll say that. Tribes Ascend was not my favorite by a large margin. I did not love Tribes Ascend. But this game, for me, is already way more exciting I'm fucking enjoying it. Each patch has had a weird screwball, like the ground icons. Yes, dude, you never know what Prophecy's going to throw at us. They're going to throw auto pass, flag auto pass. They're going to throw projectile speed faster than fucking chain gun from T1. Every single patch, they throw some crazy ass screwball that some of them outposts I think are interesting for larger game. But it's just, what the hell? It's just crazy stuff that no one could have ever foreseen or expected. Has us all scratching our heads like, who asked for this? Why did they do this? But yet still, the arc of the game is trending in a positive direction every single week. And I'd say the last patch prior to early access, we got the most quality of life changes and tweaks that the community has asked for since any of the patches before. This patch was going down our list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like all of these different updates were just straight up from the community. We met with Drizzle. I talked to Drizzle after APC in my last, we do these like weekly playtest review streams. I talked to him after and I was like, here's our list. Here's a summary of the stream. I just wanted to summarize it for you so you don't have to watch the whole thing. And he hit me up 10 minutes later saying, this is dope. Thank you so much. I'd love to do a longer session with you and get a much more comprehensive list. And I'd love to bring in a couple more people. That's what we did. We did that with Drizzle. By the way, on a Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, on a Sunday, on the weekend, we got like 60% of our list in this latest patch. We got tossing nerfed. We got auto pass nerfed. We got extra heavy for Hoffs. We got extra gravity, which is something that a lot of people have been wanting this game. Those were all things that we had asked for. And Drizzle is a fucking G. Actual disc jumps. Right, fix this. Actual disc jumps. Because Drizzle's the one who reached out to us and said, hey, can we do this session? So they're listening. They're working their asses off. And I honestly feel like Tribes 3 is a blast. More than anything, I'm just happy to have a Tribes game that has players. That's the thing that I love the most about Tribes 3 is it's Tribes and there are people playing it. But I legitimately think this version of Tribes has some unique and interesting and fun mechanics that make it different, exciting, and fresh and new. So that's the good. That's the good. That's the good. Here's the thing that kills me the most about this game. Here's the thing that fucking destroys me. The developers are working their asses off to make the best possible Tribes game that they can. They're listening to us. They're working overtime. Yet it still suffers from this terrible negative perception because people have scar tissue from Tribes Ascend. People have scar tissue from them leaving the game, abandoning it early, communication issues, monetization. They have a lot of scar tissue. And Hi-Rez, Prophecy, let's be honest, essentially the same thing in this context. They have a lot of community goodwill to win back, and they need to win it back. There's a lot of Tribes players out there who probably won't even ever give this game a shot because their perception of Hi-Rez/Prophecy. And unfortunately, the goodwill of these developers, it's landing on deaf ears in some cases because we as a community are getting just thrashed. Just absolutely thrashed because every single week, we don't know if this game's going to even continue. I was enjoying Tribes 3 so much, and then they released this mode called Honor Ball, which is exciting and fun and fresh. It's Tribes Rocket League, fucking sick. This is super cool. 1 week, I'm riding high. I'm like, this game is, I love it. I'm super excited. The next week, Erez basically insinuates that Honor Ball is going to be the main mode. 7v7 CTF is completely dead. He insinuates that they're just going to focus on that and kill CTF. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, this game could go away tomorrow based on the will of one man. I'm putting so much effort into this community, creating content, creating videos, playing. I'm playing more video games in the last 4 months than I've played in any 4-month period in like decades. I don't think I've played games this much since like Tribes 1, honestly. And now every single week I have to guess if they're even going to continue building the game that I love. Meanwhile, people like Greth wants nothing more in this world than this game to be successful. Yet he's pushed over the edge by comments from Eris that are basically like, how many times has he said, this is a dumb idea. I shouldn't be working on Tribes. Tribes will lose money forever. because Tribes fans are absolutely the worst. He never said those exact words, but he's basically insinuated that. Tribes 3 is a losing effort because Tribes veterans are going to ruin it. In the feedback forum that they've solicited feedback, which by the way, I'm very thankful that the feedback forum exists. Out of 100 posts, 75 of them are a legitimate suggestion. I think this should be changed or tweaked because it would be more fun. 15% of those, 10% of those are, I hate this thing terrible, it's ruining the game. And like 10%, 5-10% are like, I love this game. The vast majority of the forum posts are legitimately Tribes fans who are trying to help improve the game based on what they feel. Yet Erez goes, oh, if I'm a new player and I see this, I would probably just quit. It actually straight up feels like we have been thrown under the bus as veterans by the person who matters the most, the CEO. Erez, if you ever watch this, I love that you're building Tribes. I'm so happy. And I love what your team is doing. I just wish that this team had a VP of marketing that understood how to talk to the community. I can love this game and be incredibly excited about its future and love playing it, and also feel like the marketing has been awful since day one. The original IGN video, the game was not even close to ready. Like, why? Why post that video? Why post that video before the game is even ready? I appreciate Greth. I hope he sticks around, and I hope they unban him. But I can understand why Greth got pushed off that ledge. I'm thankful for Prophecy because they're listening to us, and this game is improving every single week, and it's Tribes, and I love Tribes, and all I want is a Tribes game to play competitively in pickups. I want to shoutcast tournaments. I want to play in tournaments. I want to help community members come up. They should put me in charge, said Smokin'. Yeah, or put me in charge. I don't know. I'll take over community, dude. I'll do it. I'm just saying now. Fish, I really do feel like you seem to have sort of natural fit for the community manager for T3. Literally, online communities and marketing and Tribes have been my entire fucking life since I was 12 years old, 11 years old. I don't know if I would take that job because I don't know if Tribes 3 is going to get support. That might be a year, but like what happens in a year if things don't continue? We've seen Prophecy go from game to game. There's very little job security in trying to be the community manager for Tribes 3 right now. I feel Erez is putting the cart before the horse. Devs are doing a good job. State of the game now compared to before, and Honor Ball are evidence of that. Administrative decisions from the top are questionable. Yeah, they're rushing this thing out. They're getting it out the door as fast as they possibly can. The state that the game was in during the first playtest was just so rough. Honestly, the game is still rough. Crashing is still an issue. Non-regs are still an issue. Greth even supposedly had bad intentions. No, Greth does. This is incorrect. Greth does not have bad intentions. Greth just got pushed a little bit too far and he snapped. That's all that happened there. We need big streamers to try it and have fun when EA launches, like comp FPS streamers. I'm talking to Seagull. Because here's the thing though, if they pay Seagull whatever money to do a sponsored stream and he just goes and he plays 16v16 or even 7v7 pubs by himself with nobody to tell him what to do and no question, it's not going to be a good experience for him or his viewers. I guarantee those streams are not going to do well. But if Seagull has somebody, a veteran, like sitting with him and telling him how the game works and holding his hand and explaining the different roles and the history of Tribes and the meta, and then he might actually have a chance of enjoying it. We should pug with him. I literally want to try and make that happen. Also, when you play 7v7 comp, 50% of the time it's 7v5 or 7v6 or 7v4 or whatever. That bug is that's still happening. So that's the negative part, which I don't want to be a big part of this video. I only bring it up because I'm frustrated that the perception of this game and this perception of this developer is so negatively tainted, not by any fault of the community manager or the developers. It's not their fault and they don't deserve it. And the game, frankly, is continuing to get better every single week based on our feedback. So I think we're on a good trajectory, and I just wish that was reflected in the perception that people had of the game. But yeah, shout outs to the devs. They're fucking awesome. Next question. Can Tribes 3 be successful? This is a tough one, guys. This is a tough one. I'm going to get like nerdy. So Era said that they have 40 developers at the moment. So Era's told us that they're spending $500K a month. So yes, Era says that they have 40 developers on the game, which I believe, because there's sound, audio, graphics, design, coding, front end, back end. Like they just launched ranked gameplay, achievements, leaderboard. Like this shit is coming every single week. So I believe that there's 40 developers. I think they're working hard too. 40 developers, he said $500K a month, and that's a $6 million per year cost. So each dev costs 150 grand roughly. So cost of game price $20. Let's say on average, cosmetics. Let's say I'm just gonna say on average, the average player is gonna put in $10 more for cosmetics. How are we gonna get to 6 million? How do we get to 6 million? How many copies do you think we need to sell for 6 million? 200,000. We need 200,000 people to buy this game. How many people bought Tribes 2? Tribes 2, arguably the most successful Tribes game in history, sold 245,000 units. I guess some people would argue it's Tribes Ascend. I don't have the metrics for Tribes Ascend. I don't know how much money it brought in. But Tribes 2 sold 250,000 units by the end of 2001, which was the year of its launch. So it probably sold, let's say, 300,000, roughly. We need to beat that. I don't know. It's tough. Will they always need 40 devs? That is the question. So what if it's 10 devs? Okay, that's reasonable. Look, 10 devs is 10 more than Midair. Midair doesn't have any full-time devs, and they're still able to put out content. So what if it's 10 devs? Then all we need is 50,000. You guys think 50,000 is reasonable? I really hope it is. I really hope it is, because the worst selling Tribes game of all time, Tribes Vengeance, may it rest in peace, love Tribes Vengeance. It's actually a really good game. Sold under 50,000 copies on launch. And it was canceled. They didn't even release their first patch. This game did not get a single patch. Look at this amazing box art, guys. Why would you not buy this game? That's Tribes right there. Don't forget, you're comparing apples to oranges. Tribes 2 and TV only had one upfront price. Tribes 3 will have in-game purchases. Yeah, I'm estimating the average player will put in $10, because a lot of people will put in 0 and some people will put in 100. I don't know, maybe it's 20. So for me, my jaded Tribes attitude goes back to TV. Honestly, Tribes 2 was awful when it launched. The speed caps, the crashing, no PC could run it. Tribes has been a cursed franchise, let's be honest, since the very earliest days. Tribes 1 was a accidental success, and then Tribes 2 was horrible at launch. Many Tribes 1's fans absolutely hated it at launch. Tribes Vengeance was the worst selling game in the franchise, barely sold 50,000 copies, which is absolutely nothing, given the marketing and budget and blah, blah, blah. Combined sales of all Tribes computer games released between those dates had reached 480,000 by August 2006. That's including Tribes Vengeance, Tribes 1, and Tribes 2. That's teeny tiny by today's standards. So do you guys think Tribes 3 is going to sell 50,000 copies? Because honestly, if this is the case, if this is the scenario right here, 50,000 copies, average user revenue of $40, that means we get 1 year of development with a highly limited set of developers, like extremely less developers than we have now. Look, a quarter the pace of our current development cycle still means we get a new map every month and a half, every 2 months. We still get a new weapon every month and a half, 2 months. We still get balance updates every month. I would be very happy with this scenario because it's so much better than what we have had in the last decade before this. Let's be optimistic. This means that they can keep 20 devs for over a year. Who knows what we'd get? We might get Honor Ball back. I don't know. Steam takes a cut of the money too. You're right. So this is actually times, what is Steam's cut? 30%? Tribes is cursed by a steep learning curve and an incredibly high skill ceiling, causing every community to coalesce into a small number of players, veterans, wrecking people, and noobs having no fun. That's Ares' talking point. That is why projectiles are so fast in this game. That is why we have had such limited jetting pool until very recently. That is why there's no fall damage. That is why they added auto pass. All of these things were trying to dumb down Tribes to make it easier to play. I both agree and disagree with this talking point because League of Legends has been one of the most popular, top 3 most popular games on the planet for a decade plus. And the amount of knowledge you need to have for that game is just so ridiculous. But if you have enough players and you have a good ranked system and you have good marketing and you have good business model that gets people in for free, the League of Legends can be successful. Even though there are 150 different champions and hundreds of different items and different builds, and it's so complicated. It's ridiculous. Even a game like Apex Legends has extremely high skill ceiling, absurdly high skill ceiling. The thing is, though, Apex Legends is fun to play for a new player, and that's the part that Tribes, I think, has never been able to get. How do you make it really fun for a brand new player who has no idea what's going on? That's the tough one. I don't know how you solve that in Tribes. I love Tribes, but I can't compete against people who are really good at the game, and I've played every game. Yeah, we have plenty of veterans, 20-year Tribes veterans in the Pug server who get smashed. Speaking of smashed, cheers. The essence of Tribes is movement and social aspect, community/clans. If you build a fun game around those things, people will play the game, says Supermarket. But the game needs to be fun at the beginning, and you do that by building a fun, casual gameplay. And they removed all of the casual modes that they were building. I still am so confused by that decision. Like, I feel like Team Hunters should still be in the game, honestly. And Honor Ball. Honor Ball was cool. I think if the player interest influx is high enough, the veterans won't ruin it for others. Matchmaking, lots of players, maybe. Yeah, we need a lot more players. Tuesday, baby. March 12th. EA. Early access is coming. Here are the Steam charts for Tribes 3. We have reached roughly 500, 600-ish players at peak on the playtests. I'm curious, how many players do you think we're going to peak at on day 1 of early access? What would be considered a success? 1.5K, 600, 1.5 to 200K, 5,000, 6,000 to 10,000 being very optimistic. For me, I think the launch could not possibly be considered a success if it peaks at anything less than 3,000 concurrent players. Next Fest had 1,000? Yes. Next Fest had 1,000, but it was free. It was free. And they had the marketing of Next Fest. So my hope, my prayer to, I don't know, Harabek? That's a guy, right? In the Tribes of the Universe? I don't know, whatever. My prayer to the great diamond sword in the sky is that we see 5,000 concurrent players. That would be fucking sick. I would be very excited about that. So, look, I love Tribes, and I love having a Tribes game, period. But I legitimately love Tribes 3. I would not have put 170 hours into this game over 4 months. I legitimately like this game. I just want a Tribes game to be successful enough that it retains a community and can be updated at least marginally over time. That's my goal. I think we need to be realistic. That is my personal goal, is for Tribes 3 to sell just enough that we can keep 20 developers working on it for some amount of time. Just enough that we can have a competitive community to play tournaments, to have pugs whenever I want to play pugs, to queue for pubs, and hopefully have ranked be a thing. That's all I really want, and all I'm really hoping for this game. Anything more than that is just a cherry on top, honestly. Because, man, I love these people too, man. This community is fucking awesome. I want to cast some tournaments, dude. Can we get a LAN? Do you think we'll have a LAN in this game? I would fly wherever the fuck. I don't care. I've been to Virginia for a Tribes LAN. I went to UVA 8 when I was 17 years old in Virginia. That's the one and only Tribes LAN I've been to. It was a blast. I had such a good time.
Franchise does not deserve this, and the IP should be in the hands of someone who will actually do something with the property. Tribes Ascend, the 5th game in a rather unique series. Just imagine Quake had no breaks. Open beta for the game was held in February 2012, and it was received fairly well. The game featured 3 different...
It was received so well. Tribes Ascend got like a 9 out of 10 on IGN.
types, which had 4 classes each, multiple game modes, even though the focus on Tribes has always been on capture the flag, a number of maps, and that sweet speed.
To be honest, the graphics in Tribes Ascend were pretty good. Tribes 3 barely looks any better than this.
The beta launch wasn't exactly perfect though. The balance was all over the place. Sentinel's sniping capabilities were not only useful, but apparently dangerously close to overpowered due to the openness of the maps. Apparently Infiltrator and his invisibility were pretty good too. The game had a terrible
Surprise, surprise, Stealth Pack is still OP.
tutorial.
But hey, guys, if you're watching this and you're from Tribes Ascend, at least we don't have a hit scan sniper rifle. That was the worst thing to ever be in any Tribes game ever.
Well, only really teaching the players how to ski and not about the game's class systems or even that capture the flag was the main game mode. There were also bugs. Quite a number of them, but in a beta that's to be expected. What wasn't expected in the beta were the number of changes that were being made weekly until the game's
Okay, that sounds familiar. Okay. But it's in this case, it's a good thing.
release. One of these had been a heavily praised class reduction from 12 to 9, and another being the removal of a speed cap, a sin in these types of games.
We have speed caps again. Chat, we have speed caps again. At least they're not egregious. I will say Tribes 3's speed caps are reasonable. 100% reasonable.
Fast forward a month to April, and Tribes was officially released to critical acclaim. Hi-Rez essentially flipped their design of Global Agenda, reducing the scale of the game massively and focusing on Tribes' core aspects. That means that the launch of Tribes had a large amount of content, including 5 game modes, 21 maps, and a plethora of weapons for each class. This new direction clearly worked, since Hi-Rez saw an influx of around 800,000 players in 1 month when the game launched.
800,000? Hello? And then it went to 0. Essentially. Holy.
There was another thing that came with the official release, however, which would be the game's first controversy. Ascend had 2 currency systems, XP, which was earned by playing, and Gold, which was the premium currency. The game gave new players 3 of the 9 classes, the other 6 being unlockable through grinding or a premium purchase with the weapons following the same method. The problem? The grind was extreme. Like seriously, the amount of average hours it would take to simply unlock something was absolutely absurd. We're talking like a 5-hour grind for the priciest classes, but it doesn't end there. Weapons cost either 42,000 or 75,000 XP, or even 100,000 XP. That means that grinds lasting past 30 hours were required to unlock weapons. This was an issue on its own, but the state of balance was also messed up on release, the kind of unbalance which gives...
I remember I bought like the Founders Pack when the game came out that gave you a major XP multiplier on everything you did in the game. I actually never had any issues unlocking stuff, but I'm probably lucky. I don't know.
Players a blatant advantage if they use certain weapons or classes, which gave the game a pay-to-win outlook. I don't think Hi-Rez intentionally tried to scam players, even to this day.
Wait, hold on. Look at these weapons.
Look, I don't think Hi-Rez...
That looks familiar. Wait, that looks literally identical.
Intentionally tried to scam players, even to this day. Look at Evolve's DLC on release, or Battlefront 2's loot box controversy. Now that's malicious intent. Hi-Rez just don't know what they're doing, which is arguably worse. These issues would be later addressed in the following updates, as Hi-Rez were releasing them every month, including new weapons, maps, and tweaks to game mechanics. This was until September of the same year, where the updates suddenly stopped. At the time, the Tribes community thought that Hi-Rez were pulling...
Okay, so April till September? That's fucking 3 months.
a global agenda on them, as during Tribes development, Smite
Wait,
was
no, I've had too much whiskey. That's 6 months.
released into its early beta to huge success. 900,000 players were registered before the open beta was even available. But let's go back a bit and talk about how we got to this point. What happened over that 7-month period? A lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. Where do I even begin? New weapons being gifted every month sounds like a positive, but with the state that they were seemingly always released in, I think the player base wouldn't have minded waiting a bit longer. They were always overpowered and took too long to be addressed. Early on there was a period where grenades were really good, and dare I even mention the plasma rifle with its award-winning hitbox detection.
Wait, that looks like Tribes 3.
Technology.
Those hitboxes look like Tribes.
How did it even end up like this?
Oh, what's up,
Server
Drizzle?
issues.
Cheers
oh,
to
yeah,
you.
The server issues. The ones that were never fixed. There were huge latency problems in this game, to a point where someone on Reddit was compiling lists of all the complaints people were making. Speaking of money, the cosmetics that were available seemed more directed towards people willing to dump hefty amounts of currency on the title, rather than making them accessible price tag-wise to the majority of the player base. Another aspect which would later appear in every single high-res game.
But every multiplayer game in general, that seems fine.
Some really fast routes were being found on Capture the Flag. We're talking really optimized stuff. In response to this, rather than educating...
Okay, can I just say though, speaking of shoutouts to Drizzle, this is the really optimized, crazy route with multiple disc
really
jumps.
Optimized stuff. In response to this, rather than educating players that may be blocking routes with...
Okay, this is pretty fast, but doesn't feel... I feel like you can go this fast in Tribes 3 without having to disc jump 20 times.
If some manpower would be a good idea, they instead re-implemented the speed limiter when you carry the flag. You can...
Flag drag! Drizzle, you know how I feel about this. Flag drag! Oh my gosh.
Imagine how that went down in a game about speed. What else? Oh yeah, after the player base thought that they had been abandoned, and rightfully so, Hi-Rez made the incredibly insightful decision to close down the tribes section of their official forums, deciding to use the Reddit r/tribes as their main hub instead. The community outrage was on another level. Keep in mind, this is after the Tribes community had already assigned Hi-Rez the title of Worst Developer period, so this was just more fuel in the fire, especially since Hi-Rez just kinda forced this on the subreddit without even consulting the moderators first. This got to the point of the community considering banning all Hi-Rez personnel from the subreddit. Although this plan never fell through with the mods, the statement it made was clear as day. Hi-Rez abandoned them, so they'll abandon Hi-Rez. And on
This is my issue
top of all that,
in T3 as well. There's a lot of community goodwill that needs to be rebuilt by Erez in particular. Straight up, Erez needs to rebuild this community goodwill. There's a lot of scar tissue. There's a lot of scar tissue that people don't forget about.
they never released those map-making tools. Okay, that's a lot of stuff going wrong. But now we need to turn the clock forward some more, to February 2013, where the Game of the Year update was released, coming with 10 new maps and a weapon. All thanks to Smite, as Hi-Rez says. I bet Tribes players were happy about that. I don't think they ever took the community seriously. They're all just dollar signs. It's always the community.
Scar tissue is real, but we just need to support no matter what. We don't have a choice but to be optimistic. We can still be critical. And that's what I'm doing here. I have a good relationship with Drizzle. I've had conversations with Erez. Like, I don't want to ruin... Last thing I want to do is ruin my relationship with Prophecy. But that doesn't mean I'm going to not be critical when I feel like I need to be critical. I'm also going to do everything with the lens of how do we help grow this community? How do we improve this game? That's always going to be my lens.
Nothing but trollish responses to threads just trying to help them understand. In December 2015, the Out of the Blue update came to Tribes, a bit over 2 years after the last update. I would go over it in detail, but at this point, I really don't think any players of the game who left would have thought about coming back because of this. I've heard opinions saying this update both ruined the game and made it better, but I don't think anyone really cares anymore. Hi-Rez just updated it as a PR move. That is all global agenda and Tribes are to Hi-Rez. PR. In October 2018, Tribes Ascend was finally delisted from the Steam store, and with Hi-Rez still in possession of the Tribes license, it is very unlikely that another installment
Hey, we got Tribes 3! Woo!
in the
I'm so happy we have Tribes 3, no cap.
franchise will be released, unless it's some sort of cash grab like most of their IP spin-offs. I guess to clear things up on their end, Hi-Rez employees did release statements as to why they ultimately had to leave Tribes.
Some people will look at Hi-Rez as a history of the game and arrive at a misinformed conclusion.
Hi-Rez
Oh,
employees
man.
did release statements as to why they ultimately had to...
It was not a total loss since we did build significant technology and platforms that would help us develop our next game.
leave Tribes. Let's see here.
Ah.
Received exceptional reviews, but just like global or gender, the user base kept declining no matter what we did. Are you kidding me? Have you ever considered that maybe it was your fault? You didn't so much take the sick dog out back to put it down, more so left it on the side of the motorway and drove away with your new favorite pooch. The FPS Z genre is dead, and Hi-Rez killed it, and then midair jumped over its corpse and tripped.
Oh my god, you didn't have to do that. Oh shit. Oh, midair just got fucking owned. I'm so thankful that Era is keeping this franchise alive and investing so much money into Tribes 3. I wish he would realize that he needs a PR department and he needs a chief marketing officer or a VP of marketing or a director of marketing. Somebody needs to take the fucking megaphone away from this man. Like, you wonder why people don't trust that you're going to do the right, like, that you're This quote is wild. I'm sorry. This quote, it was not a total loss since we did build significant technology and platforms that would help us. I think that this game would be doing better and have more players if Eras didn't just continuously shoot himself in the foot and shoot his game in the foot by talking the way he does to the community. I've done marketing and I've done community for decades, and like,
your new favorite pooch.
it's just exasperating. But I do want to go through my hopefuls for EA. I want to say number one is spec mode. I think it's really impossible to overstate how awesome the draft tournament was for this community. We held the draft tournament several playtests ago, I want to say a month or two ago, and we had hundreds of people playing in a draft tournament at the exact same time. That is a significant portion of the entire player base was willing to enter a draft tournament. It was awesome. Everyone had such a good time. I was captaining a team, and I don't think I had a single person on my team who didn't have a absolute blast playing in this tournament. And you know what? We didn't just play for 2 or 3 matches. We played all day. We played 10 hours straight, and nobody churned. Everybody stuck around the entire day unless they absolutely had to leave. We scrimmed the day before. This draft tournament was such a massive success that I feel like it has to be some sort of evidence that esports and competition are worth investing in. So I really hope that we see a draft tournament or something similar around the launch of EA within the first month or 2 months, because I don't want to overestimate how important we are, but I think you can't underestimate how crazy it is that a significant portion, like 50% of the entire game player base, was playing in a single tournament at a single time. That's crazy. However, we need spec mode. We absolutely need spec mode for tournaments and competition to be a thing. I think spec mode will unlock so many doors for this community. Everything that Erez seems to want to focus on is retention based for how do we keep the current players retaining better. But spec mode is how do you get new players to check out the game. Spec mode is going to enable me as a content creator to do so much more than I was ever able to do before. It's going to enable esports to be a thing and actually get viewership. So I'm super biased. Look, I'm the esports guy. If you know me, esports has been my jam for almost as long as I've been a Tribes fan. The reason I got into Tribes is because I joined a clan when I was like 12 years old, and I started leading a clan when I was 13. Like, my entire life and career have been based around esports. So that's, I think spec mode / competition is number one. Hire a VP of marketing. There's been no social media presence to speak of. The PR strategy hasn't worked out. Doing the IGN video when they did was not I think they need a real marketing person on this team. The game has been improving so quickly, and I have so much faith in people like Drizzle to continue to listen to our feedback and improve the game for a competitive experience, that I am confident that we are going to move in the right direction when it comes to the balance of this game and the maps as well. The physics, the balance, and the maps are all getting better and better every week. I'm going to say keep doing what you're doing. Balance, physics, maps. Because it's awesome. It's going great. I will say there is one thing that is the hardest thing to do, but is the most important thing to do for this game's success, and it's make Tribes 3 fun to play casually with friends. If you look at if you go back the last 3, 4, 5 years, especially the last 2 years, there's always a flavor of the month on Steam, whether it's BattleBit or Lethal Company or Helldivers. There's always a flavor of the month game that comes out of nowhere and becomes a top 3 game on Steam. Top 5, top 2, top 3, whatever, the finals, whatever. There's always a game that rockets up the Steam charts, just like explodes up the Steam charts. And there's one thing consistent about these games, Baldur's Gate as well. It's fun to play with friends. And I'm an esports guy, I'm a competitive gaming guy. I'm a gaming industry guy, but I'm also a startup guy. How do you grow a consumer startup? You make it viral. Fun to play casually with friends. That makes a game viral. BattleBit is a blast to play. You can get a party of 10 people. You have proximity voice chat. It's funny. It's fucked up. It's amazing. How do we make Tribes fun to play in a casual experience with friends? Drizzle says, if Tribes made top 3 on Steam, I would die happy. Me too. I'm not even working on the game. I would die happy. 100%. If there's actually any one thing on this entire list, it's actually this, which is weird because I'm a competitive player and this part is actually not the most important thing for me. It's just the most important thing for the game. I think this is why, like, all these people, Veer, you see them on Discord all the time. All these people on Reddit, like Reddit people, they say Tribes isn't Tribes without vehicles, bombers, turret farming, because these things are fun to fuck around with and play with friends. Bombers, dude. Bombers in Tribes 2, you get somebody in the bomber position, somewhere in the gunner position. I don't know if vehicles are the end all be all. I don't know if it's proximity voice chat. I don't know what it is, but Tribes 3 has to be fun to play with friends. My fiance, she's a bigger gamer than me. She plays more games than I do. She's in a Discord with her friends, her homies. This Discord, they play every single flavor of the month game when it comes out. They played Baldur's Gate. They played Lethal Company for a month straight. Tribes 3 will not be truly successful until she is playing with her Discord group. So I want to know what makes Tribes something that she wants to play with her Discord group. I think this is the critical key piece of this whole puzzle. And if I was advising Erez on what to do, this would be it. This is why I'm so surprised Erez has said multiple times that vehicles are not on the docket. They're not planned. Not only are they not planned currently, but don't expect them to ever come, because last time I promised a Tribes fan something, I got burnt. So I'll never promise you good people of something again. Sorry. That's how I hear Erez when he types to us in Discord. But in previous patch reviews that me and APC have done, I'm like, here's a laundry list of 1,000 things that we need to get changed. But now that I know we have this relationship with Drizzle, with Scott, where the competitive community can really communicate and suggest our ideas and they actually get worked on, I'm not actually worried. Honestly, keep doing what you're doing because we're on the right path. Balance, physics, everything. The negativity can certainly be challenging to navigate, but truth be told, it's only because we care about the game so much more than we get credit for sometimes. Dude, I'm going to give you all the credit on the planet. And I know Erez cares. He wouldn't be doing this if he didn't like Tribes. I know you give a shit. I know Scott gives a shit. I know Solstice gives a shit. I don't think we hear from too many other developers, but I know you give a shit for sure. I'm just saying. I think most of us are with you guys. We love Tribes. We are having fun in Tribes 3, and we'll support you guys. Just keep listening to the community and understand sometimes we get frustrated too. 100%. I definitely feel for Erez and the team, and even Discord mods having to deal with the petty, harsh negativity right off the bat, but every game community is like this. 100%. Look, the tribalwar.com is a cesspool, and it does represent the Tribes community, sadly. But outside of tribalwar.com, I don't think this community is any more harsh than any other community. Even like the finals, this game popped up out of nowhere. It was so popular. They changed the tiniest little thing and it's just it's a riot. It's a riot. It's an absolute riot. Yeah, I feel like a lot of communities are just as bad or worse. These people just want to see the game that they love improve and grow. And 95% of us in Discord just want to see this game succeed. I love all of you. Tribes will never die, as this video so proudly proclaims. I'm excited for the future. Early access is coming in just a couple of days. I'm going to be around doing streams, more videos, streaming pugs. Hopefully I'll join a team. Still looking for team, by the way. Medium offense / capper. Really looking forward to EA, and thanks everyone for watching. If you haven't already, please do follow here on Twitch and especially subscribe on YouTube. It would mean a lot to me if you guys did subscribe. I just got 500 subscribers, so I just hit monetization like 2 days ago. But it's only the first stage of monetization, to be honest. It's actually not the real monetization. It's like fake monetization. Real monetization is at 1,000. So please do check out the YouTube channel. I would appreciate it very much if we could get some subscriptions going. Other than that, I will see you on Tuesday for the return of Tribes 3 with early access. Can't wait. I hope it goes amazing. Hoping for the best. Thanks for the subscription, for the Prime subscription. Throw me your Jeff Bezos bucks if you have them. Don't subscribe to me without Jeff Bezos bucks. I don't need your money, but I'll take Jeff Bezos's money. And that's it.